In this lesson, we're going to be customizing our own personal effects and playing around with the timing of how some of these layers interact with each other. Okay, so one of the things that I said in the last lesson I wanted to add was this flow wide sequence that we brought in. So go ahead and grab that, and I'm just going to drop it on top of everything here so you can take a look at it. Now this sequence was not rendered with transparency like the other transition we had. If I move this out of the way and come over here, you can see that this sequence in between here, we're able to see the piece of footage beneath it. This one we can't. It's just one solid piece. But because it's on black, we can use our blending mode to be able to look through that blackness and basically just see this orange shape kind of overlaid on top of everything. But I want to be able to see the orange shape on top of the whole frame, and right now it's just kind of at the top. So we can scale this kind of disproportionately to make that fit. So I'm just going to come down here to the bottom and kind of drag this up and pull it down a little bit just to make that fill the whole frame. Now I want this to kind of come in right when the glitches start. So just maybe a couple frames after this glitchy effect has been added to the second half of the clip of the woman here at the beginning, we'll go ahead and bring this over here, and then we can just trim it to last as long as that last clip of her, maybe at the beginning. And you know, actually maybe we want this to go a little bit further into our text. So let's come over here and just maybe not worry so hard about clipping it right on the edge of the text right there. Let's just let it kind of come in here, maybe right in between those keyframes, maybe a little further, just right in there. And then we can pull this back, just kind of trim that over there. And now we need to play with the blending mode to be able to see through this and see our clips. So to play with your blending modes, you can come down here to the bottom where it says toggle switches / modes. And when you click that, you're going to have your modes available over here. Now if you drop this down, you've got all these different blending modes to choose from. If you've ever played in Photoshop, you might not have quite this many blending modes. After Effects gives you tons of different ways to blend this with images. And you can kind of just start to click down through here and see the different ones that are available to you. I'm going to kind of move this back onto our piece of footage. It'll be a little bit easier to see. You can see we've got a little bit going on here that's changing it, but we can't really see our woman. So to speed this process up, instead of going down and choosing each one without really knowing which one's going to have the best effect, you can hold down the Shift key and hit the plus key. And that one right there looks pretty good. Add mode looks nice. Lighten looks okay. Screen looks good because it has a black background. So it's really up to you how you want it to interact. I think add looks nice because of how much brighter it gets when it's on top of the white areas in our image. So you can kind of see how that looks with that white text. Pretty cool. So let's play around with this one for now. Maybe scale it up just a little bit more so it kind of comes up off the top there. Just like that. And let's go ahead and just watch this through here at the beginning. So we'll go ahead and do a RAM preview of that. Okay, so that's pretty interesting how that just kind of pops up there whenever we get our glitch with the woman. And I think maybe we could have this part be a little bit glitchy as well, the transition itself. So let's kind of move forward a little bit, just maybe right about here. And with that flow wide piece selected, we can hit Control-Shift-D. And maybe cut it in half twice. So go to that little piece, hit it again, Control-Shift-D, and we'll add weak to that final one and old to the first one. So it'll kind of just change it over time. And we can go ahead and hit play again or on the RAM preview. And I think that's a nice way to kind of transition from her to the text. Just a little bit more overlap between those two. It makes it just feel a little more polished. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue this process on with the rest of our pieces of text and footage transition. So I'm just going to kind of go forward here. We'll come forward to our guy right at the end where he starts to get glitchy. Just right about... Looks like he glitches for quite a long time here at the end. Really before it ever even has the shape come on. So I think we could just kind of come maybe about halfway through that glitch, just right about there, and that's where we can start the flow piece on top of him. So I'll go ahead and pull this over so we can get back over to our project panel. We'll grab the flow wide clip again and just drop it right on top of the shape layer right there. And then we can just pull this over here. Let's have this start right there on the current time indicator, and then we'll go forward just a bit over into where our text is going to be, and maybe even a little bit further, maybe right about there. And this is where we'll have that kind of starting to glitch out. Now, one of the things that I want to change is the color of this. So I don't want to mess with the black, because the black is what's allowing that blending mode to work. And we can change that blending mode again by going over here to mode and choosing add so we can see through it. But the color is going to need to be affected in a slightly different way. So I'm going to use the tint effect. So we'll type in tint and drop on the color correction effect tint. And you can see basically what that does is it's going to map the dark parts of the image to black and map the white to white. So basically creates a black and white image. But the lighter amounts of your image you can change. So this white area here, we can come in and change it basically to any color we want, and that's just going to affect those pixels that are kind of flying around, since in this case we have a solid black background. So let's kind of make it a more yellow kind of golden color like what we have on that shape for the man up here in the corner. Go ahead and say okay to that, and if I come backwards here, you can kind of see how that just feels like it matches a little bit better. And then we'll go ahead and take that flow again and stretch it out. Maybe move it down a little bit just so it covers pretty much everything here. You can kind of start to see that on top of his face. And let's just do a quick little RAM preview of what we have. I'm just going to start it right here. Now, let's say that I don't want to zoom back out of this kind of zoomed in on the frames like I have here, but I want to drag the work area over. If I click right there, you can see now I see the end of the work area and I'm able to drag it over. But if my current time indicator had been any farther over to the right, I wouldn't have been able to see it. So another way that you can fix that is, let's say, this is way over here. We're looking at it like this again. I can use a keyboard shortcut to trim that work area to my current time indicator. So I can just hit the B key, B as in ball, and it's going to pull that to the edge, that work area to the edge right where the current time indicator is. And now we'll just RAM preview this small area, and we won't have to waste time watching or caching frames that we're not worried about at this point. So go ahead and hit RAM preview. And that looks pretty good. I do think, though, that we could add a little bit of a glitch to this, and it'll look nice. So let's go ahead and just grab that flow. We'll hit Control-Shift-D to cut it. We'll go into our bad TV effects, just typing in bad, and let's use weak since it's so much lighter there. Just kind of glitch that, and that's nice. It kind of coincides with the glitch of the text. And it goes away and the text kind of comes back. Perfect. Okay, let's hit the RAM preview again and watch that. Really nice, just a little bit less jarring, but we still have the nice glitch. Okay, we've got one left here at the end, one last piece of text. and transition from our girl. Okay, so right about here, where, let's have this come on where our second piece of glitch for her comes on. So we'll come back over to our project. Let's go up in our stacking order just a bit. We'll put this on top of everything, so even on top of the little runner guy. We'll grab that flow wide piece, drop that on, and you'll notice that I can't see it, and that's because it dropped on at the very beginning. So earlier I was able to see that, but I can't see it now. So I'll go ahead and pull this forward, and then we can just trim it to last as long as we need. That looks pretty good right there. Maybe give it one more frame. Let's change our blending mode to add, so we can see that there. Zoom back out a bit and kind of stretch this. There you go. That's looking pretty good. Now if you wanted to tint this maybe to be a little bit lighter, to be closer to the color of that little mountain we've created, you could do that. It's really up to you, however you want to change that. You can see how it just kind of pops on there. Let's zoom out of our timeline a little bit and come down here. Now, I don't think I want it to last quite this long throughout my text, so I'm going to pull it back a bit, and then we'll say right about here we want that to, we pull it back even more. We want that to glitch and kind of end, so we'll select it, hit Control-Shift-D, and we can grab that bad TV weak, and drop it on to that smaller part that we clipped. There you go, just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and play this through. Okay, so pretty good. That's looking pretty nice. And then we've got this piece right here where she starts to glitch and then goes into the shoe. So I think that we could add some of that flow into this transition as well. So really start to just make this feel like that flow goes in between here and to this piece. And I think I also want to play around maybe with the speed of the flow. Up until now, the flow has gone the speed that it was rendered at, which is fine, but I think we can make it go a little faster over time, which will make it feel, you know, like she's starting to speed up, she's starting to go faster. So I think we can achieve that with a few different effects. So let's kind of just stop this lesson for now, and then we'll pick back up in our next lesson and just add some finishing touches to get the whole thing together, just making the comp look really nice. And honestly, before you know it, you have a really robust timeline. So all the way here from one layer to 37 layers in a very short amount of time. We've created a pretty complex animation, and you can kind of see how trimming everything the way that we've been doing it is really giving you a visual representation of what happens on that timeline. Just kind of the way that they stack and then move down is really interesting and really nice effect. So we'll come back in our next lesson, put some finishing touches on this, and finish that final transition with the flow that'll go between our fast woman at the end and then the reveal of our shoe. So stick around, we'll finish it up in the next lesson.